What's the matter?
There's a monster outside my room. Can I have a glass of water?
Ready? Stand there in the background. Action! Go now. This is my first journey with CGI, and it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal because literally you have an entirely new job to do while you're making the movie with CGI, and I didn't realize how much the process needed me to have a vision in advance for that crew, and it was definitely a big learning process because it took twice as long, took twice as many people, took twice as much effort as we had originally planned on. And as hands-on as I am with the music, with the screenplay, obviously, with the actors, I mean, literally, you have to do that and go through that process with this huge crew that's doing the special effects. So let's start with the creature itself.
Yeah, we got some new stuff.
Whoa.
When Knight came up with the idea, the presence, I'll call it, in this movie, we talked a long time, all of us, about just exactly what that would be and what people would see and what the audience would think they would see. Knight does a very interesting thing in the style of the way he shoots movies. By creating a sense of suspense, he sits on long shots with a great deal of confidence and patience, and he wants the audience to begin to sit in their seat and move forward. He wants you to wonder what you're looking at. It should be very subliminal. You should almost turn to the person sitting next to you and say, "What was that?" The restraint that Knight has in his storytelling and what he chooses to show you is definitely Hitchcockian. The whole idea that the imagination can give you so much more than anything that you necessarily put in front of somebody, and waiting as long as possible to show the audience creates a much more suspenseful, thrilling kind of scene.
Traditionally, when you're setting out to create a monster for a movie, what you do is you come up with a broad palette of options. And so we had our art directors present tonight very diverse choices to sort of hone in on what he was thinking it should look like, how human should it be. The script gave us some indications, but when Knight started to see a look that he preferred, he would steer us in that direction, and then we would continue to refine that look. Although I have to say it was up through the entire production and into post-production, we were constantly fine-tuning the look of the creature. I think as the scenes were evolving editorially, Knight was getting a clearer view of what he wanted from the alien. Knight's original vision of the creature was slightly more feminine and more graceful. And originally, a woman was brought in and various video and other measurements were taken of her performance to try and create the foundation for how our creature was going to behave. When the creature performed the exact same motions and was superimposed into the scene, I think that everyone felt that the sense of threat was somehow diminished. And so the second phase of the evolution of that creature was for us to, without changing the basic idea, make it feel like it was more of a threatening presence. Initially, the concept of the creature's camouflaging ability was very similar to that we've seen perhaps in other movies, where the entire creature could render itself invisible. When we created that look on film as sort of a preview image, I think that Knight felt it was too science fiction-y, too movie magic, trick photography. And the movie is very much about the emotions and the reality of this family, and to put in something that would take the audience out of that sequence by making them notice the fancy visual effects was a mistake. So after a lot of trial and error, we came up with basically a slight revision to the character, which was that it did have this camouflaging ability, but only in that the pattern or the texture of its skin would change color. It doesn't disappear, but it's just harder to see.
Scream! Got really great.
The scene in which the creature turns and we see the image of the girl's face on its back is the original photography from the set, and Rory's being suspended on wires on the set. The Creature Shop here at ILM created an animatronic hand. This was used in two sequences that also involved visual effects. One was in the pantry sequence, when Mel is looking under the door of the pantry and this hand sort of rushes out.
Action.
Because it was an animatronic hand, we filmed it rushing out from under the door on the set, but then we wanted to actually show that its fingers were being cut off. So halfway through the scene, we transitioned to our computer-generated hand. Looks exactly the same, the audience can't tell the difference, but now a computer-generated knife can come in and cut off the fingers. In the end sequence, when we actually see that the alien is holding Rory Culkin, it felt more realistic to use the hand, and since that was working, why should we change it? So what we did is we put in the rest of the creature from the elbow on back is all computer-generated. That was filmed here at ILM on a blue screen stage, and the reason for that was by this point in the evolution of the scene, we knew that we wanted the creature to be a little bit more frightening, a little bit more kind of wild, almost like a crazed drug addict has come into your house. And so we dressed up a very big, very strong actor in a blue outfit and had him do the performance that Knight was looking for. And then the boy was put into the background scene already filmed, and instead of our big blue actor, we put in our creature. The creature in the movie is only seen briefly, but has to be completely identifiable to the audience exactly what its intentions are by its behavior. If you look at all the other performances and scenes from the human actors, they've all got a specific style to what they're doing, and I think the challenge in this film was for us to make our synthetic character follow that same type of performance. One of the most difficult points to get across in a very quick amount of time was the fact that the one weakness, the Achilles heel to this alien, was that it could not stand water on it. And so we looked at a lot of various chemicals, acids, what peroxide does, and we found that there was a foaming quality to the acids as they ate into the materials, and that this would be a great visual cue for us to incorporate in the event so that the audience would understand that it's not just that it doesn't like water, it doesn't like getting wet, this is actually damaging the creature. And then, of course, revealing what we call the meat-looking part of the creature, the muscles underneath the skin, it was very clear that this was very damaging to the creature. The creature is memorable in this film because it's so well dramatically supported. I think that's the difference. You can have the best looking, the best designed creature in a movie. If it's not supported by the story, if it's not important to the movie, it's very forgettable. In this film, the entire tapestry of the story is woven around these culminating events, and I think that the juxtaposition of this fantastic creature in the family house threatening the child is a very memorable sequence.
Okay, now turn them again, ready? It was a very emotional process, but we got to that level, and the level was you're not supposed to think about it. It's supposed to be real, and it's supposed to be in the movie.
Swing away, Meryl.
It's not supposed to suddenly turn into a sci-fi movie. It's always been this kind of hybrid movie between a drama and sci-fi, and should stay that way. It's been super rewarding. I would do it again, and I feel like I have so much more knowledge about the process that I can do it again a little better. Cut. Very nice.
All right.
Very nice, Rory.
And we cut. Nice.